Hi, and welcome to today's video on SharePoint 2010 and InfoPath 2010. We will be looking at how we add repeating sections to InfoPath forms for use in a SharePoint form library. There are many times when the ability to store repeating data in SharePoint could be useful. One good example which we'll be looking at today is a timesheet application. There may be some information in a timesheet entry that we only add once, but there may be several tasks which we need to add several times. We don't necessarily know how many rows we'll want to add in advance. So right now we're going to look at how we create a timesheet application in SharePoint using the repeating sections of an InfoPath form. First of all, we open InfoPath here via the Start menu. We open InfoPath Designer. Here are the options of the things we can create with InfoPath. To create a repeating section, we need to use a SharePoint form library solution. A default canvas opens where we can add labels and controls to enter our data. We add a form title here and do a little tidy up. In a timesheet, I'm interested in capturing the person's name, the person's job title. So to capture those, we're going to add a text box control for the person name, which we simply add by double-clicking the control in the palette at the top. Then I'm going to change the field name underlying that control to be something sensible. For the job title, I'm going to add a drop-down box because I don't want people adding free-form job titles. I'm going to define a list that they can select from. Once again, I give the field a good name. And we want to know what time period the timesheet entry is for. So I'm going to add a week ending date. And for that we need a date picker control. Once again, I give the field a meaningful name. It would be useful if we had a default value. Using the wizard here, I can pre-fill this with a default value of today's date. For the time record, I'm going to need an indeterminate amount of rows. So I'm going to get rid of the table which InfoPath has given me here. Whoops, not the whole table. Control Z, get that back again, undo. And we'll try that again. We're just going to get rid of the rows. And now the key to this, I'm going to add a repeating section, in this case a repeating table. I only need 2 columns here. Now I can add headings, and then I can define the information I'm going to capture. So we need a task, and we need the hours spent against that task. And as I say, this is going to be repeating. Task name can be free-form text. Time spent needs to be a number. We may have half hours, so I'm going to make it a decimal. Let's define some values for the job title. So we go into the properties and we can just add values here. So we'll add a consultant, developer, and let's add a project manager. Okay, we're good to go. Now we want to get this into SharePoint, so we're going to have to publish this to SharePoint. We need to just save the form locally first. Select a decent name here. Okay, we save that. Okay, we want to create a new form library for our purposes here. So we'll choose the name of our new form library. There we go. Now, we can actually do something useful with the columns from our form. We can have SharePoint create extra columns which we can work with in the form library. So I'm going to add the name, the title and the week ending so that we can differentiate the different timesheet entries. But I also want to do something with the data in the form. If you look here, I can set a function of sum, and I can have one that sums all the hours worked for a given week. So we'll OK that one. Now we're going to publish this form and create the form library automatically. And there we go, it's created. So if we add a new timesheet entry here, John Smith, select the job title, we'll leave today's date, let's add a few tasks. We have paperwork. Unfortunately, developers have to do paperwork sometimes. Add another row. This is our repeating data now. We've managed to do some development today, thank goodness. And, well, all good developers do some testing. So we'll log some time against that. And now we need to save the form. This could be made slicker if we had a little more time. This is just a quick example. So we save that, and now you'll see that our entry has been saved, and the sum of the hours is automatically being stored there in a SharePoint column. So if we needed to report on this elsewhere, we have proper SharePoint columns to work with. And if we open the form again, we can see all the information we've entered.